Greetings, everyone. Welcome once again to the Ozzy Arcane YouTube channel. I am the man behind the anime girl, and with me once again I have my friends Mad Matt
Evening.
and Ojunix.
Evening.
Today we're going to talk about the coveted 100% Achievement Club, which Matt doesn't care about as much as me and Ojunix, but he's always along for the ride. So,
And technically, I have been doing some air quotes 100%ing since the 90s.
yes.
So I have a list. I meant a
Fair
list, but I have a list.
So we'll go in a circle. We'll go me, Ojunix, then Matt. I'm going to first start off with saying the first game I ever 100%ed after achievements became a thing was, oddly enough, Dynasty Warriors Gundam. Because I was always a fan of the Dynasty Warriors games anyhow, and that one was, one of the first games I actually played on the Xbox 360. It was basically the reason I bought an Xbox 360. Because one of my friends was like, hey, look, they made a Gundam Dynasty Warriors game. And I was like, oh, but it's not on the PS2. Well, that sucks. Well, I guess I'll buy the system. And I actually remember at the time thinking the kill count achievement in that was kind of tedious because you have to kill like way more enemies than you need to do everything else in the game. But looking back on it, that's not anywhere near as bad as some of the tedious shit I've had to do in other games to get 100%. Oh, Tunix, what was your first 100%?
My first 100% when achievements became a thing was Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion on the original release on the Xbox 360.
So you've 100%ed that game twice now.
Probably would have done it 3 times the PS3 if for the fact that the PS3 one is more broken than the Xbox One was, which I didn't. I was like, how did you do that?
That's because a lot of
It
Western developers were too lazy to program properly for the cell processor of the PS3, but they weren't willing to give up the sales and just not make a game for the system, even if the game was nearly unplayable. Because the Fallout games, I'm pretty positive, were worse than Oblivion.
Yeah, kind of glad I never. I did.
I got through the Fallout 3 just fine, except for one bug where apparently I left too much stuff inside of a building, and every time I loaded it would crash out.
Yeah, the problem with Fallout 3 was literally the more you played, the more buggy your saves got.
I believe Fallout 3 was more doable if you didn't have the DLC. But generally speaking, Bethesda and BioWare fucking shat the bed with their PS3 ports of their games. BioWare not quite as bad, but on my playthrough of the Mass Effect trilogy on PS3, I had to stop in the middle of Mass Effect 3 because I hit a point where it would not stop freezing. I'd get to a cutscene that I needed to go through to progress the story, and it would freeze. And after like 5 times, I'm like, I guess I'm not playing this anymore. Oh well. So Oblivion.
Yeah, I mean it's not like it's the hardest to accomplish, but at the same time, it was my first game to 1%. It's like, yeah, that was worth it.
I can see because I know you like Elder Scrolls way more than I do. So, Matt, what's your pick for this category?
So most of mine would be before achievements were a thing. So the one I can think of that I would have completed all the way, got everything first, would have been actually Zelda Link's Awakening for the Game Boy and Game Boy Color versions. The Game Boy Color version actually did have some extra content, and if you knew where to look, you can get it. And that includes also getting your self-named thief and stealing from the item shop, which would also garner you a picture.
Huh.
Because they added a photo guy who would take pictures of you doing specific events in the game, and he secretly takes a picture of you stealing from the item shop. So there's evidence that you stole. Outside of that, I think the earliest full-on achievement one I may have finished would have been I think it was either Ghostbusters, as long as you played the whole game of normal mode or higher, or it would have been Infamous.
Oh, you 100% at Infamous?
I think so.
Oh, nice.
I remember it being a bit of a pain, but I think I got close to it at least. It was like I said, it was either that one or Ghostbusters. I forget which.
I never even finished Infamous because the game pissed me off.
Oh, yeah, I finished it.
I finished it, but I don't think I ever 1% it though.
So, well, you apparently you beat both me and Ojunix on that, Matt.
There we go.
But and the thing is, I probably would have been more of a completionist before achievements were a thing, but I was always like the RPG guy, and usually like the optional ultra hard dungeon they would put in those things. It's like, why? If
Why would you want
I
to go do
if
it? Yeah.
if I can already just beat the boss and see the ending, why would I want to go fight something that's harder than the final boss for no reason? Like,
Then they would throw in achievements to get all the bosses, and it's just like, oh.
yeah. And granted, there is one exception to that. I did beat Emerald and Ruby Weapon in Final Fantasy VII on the PS1.
Ooh,
That's the only
nice.
case I can think of where I did something that was harder than I needed to do to complete the game. But that was also because I believe a stupid rumor that you could revive Eris if you morphed the Ruby Weapon.
Yeah.
Yes, I actually finished the Ruby Weapon with a morph attack. Didn't fucking do anything. He doesn't give you any item for doing that. Waste of time. Big waste of time. Oh,
I think I did some of the weapons things just so I could get some of the gear for the end game. Yeah,
but moving
I
on.
had a guide back then too.
Moving on to the next topic. Our proudest 100%, which for me, and Ojunix was there for this one, is still Warhammer Vermintide 2.
I somehow knew that.
You knew that when I said you were there for this one?
Yeah.
Because beating the final stage on the hardest difficulty was
Ooh.
awful. Because everything just freaking murders you in that. In fact, in the final battle, Ojunix and Deadlock's characters got killed in the boss fight, and our other friend that was playing with us got downed. I was lucky that I was playing as the War Priest, who can give himself a temporary invulnerability shield. I activated that, got the other guy up. Ojunix and Deadlock had respawned and were tied up across the room. We ran over, untied them, managed to finish off the boss, and then we just fucking ran like hell. Because that's really the only thing that stops you from getting the 100% is whether or not you can pull that off, and that was fucking awful. I think me and Ojunix almost had panic attacks during that fight.
Yeah, I think we both were like we had to like walk away for a minute or two just to try to calm ourselves.
Yeah, after we finished, because that was Ojunix. What's yours?
Oddly enough, another one back on the 360, Transformers War for Cybertron. Besides that, I'm just a Transformers nerd. But when we actually got a good Transformers game, a third-person shooter, sort of, it was mostly just a shooter, but it's just the fact that they were able to perfectly make a gameplay where you can move around as the robots, but also the transformation was seamless, but also part of the gameplay too. You transform to a car and just speed boost around the fields, making it hard for people to hit you. Or if you're a flyer, turn to a jet and fly super fast in the air, which makes you even harder to hit. And honestly, the biggest thing for this, because outside the achievements for just completing the main story on the hardest difficulty, which I managed to do solo, though I did also help a friend also accomplish it at the same time. But the other is the few achievements for the multiplayer. The last one being once you get all the classes to max level and then hit the Prime directive, which basically resets all your levels, but gives you a progress that you hit the mark. That was basically the last achievement I had to do, and for a lot of multiplayer games it was really hard for me to get in multiplayer games outside of Halo. So the fact that that's one really just made me enjoy it so much that I actually pushed myself through for a good couple of weeks to get those levels to max and then hit the Prime directive to not only just to get that final achievement. I was very proud and because I enjoyed the whole time doing it. I had no complaints about it. Even on matches I lost, I was like, I don't know. Next one.
I have that game in my 100% list as well. The biggest problem for me was how fast the player base dropped off for the online versus matches, and you had to do that stuff to get 100%.
Yeah.
Especially because the fucking Activision added DLC maps for the
Oh yeah,
the
and I
multiplayer,
remember this.
where if you're in a lobby and you're in a lobby and one of the DLC maps comes up because you're not the host, and you vote. A bunch of people that don't have the DLC will vote to pick to get a different map, and people are like,
Yeah.
"No, I bought the DLC. I want to play the map." Okay, well, you're not going to because the number of players is going to drop when we get kicked, and it won't start the match.
Yep, because the second they
Yeah.
would, yeah. So if that map got selected, you were just immediately kicked out of the game, the lobby.
Yep.
So yeah, and that happened. That probably did happen quite a bit at near the end of when I was doing the thing, but it was annoying, but it was something I just had to deal with.
So, Matt, you're proudest 100%.
Proudest 100s. I have back in the day, maybe with a little bit of save cheating, if you will, but not with like permanent lives or anything. I did finish the original Castlevania and Astyanax. Both of them are combat-based platformer games. Astyanax is popular for being one of the earliest platformer games to actually have cutscenes. No audio, but they did play different music, and they did do like close-ups and zoom outs, and different things happened to tell the story between levels. So that was the thing. Otherwise, after achievements, I have to say the happiest one that I finally got finished was just finishing Final Fantasy.
Nah. Oh yeah,
The hardest thing on there, thankfully, was only finding a rare monster spawn that happens, and I believe it's the Sky Tower.
Yep.
Just trying to find this darn robot and just keep circling around until you find them.
And
the war mech, yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned Castlevania, the first one, like, and maybe this is just because I'm terrible at platformers. I can't imagine beating that game without quick saves.
Oh yeah, it's a rough one. Yeah, it is a very rough one. Again, would use limited saves. I think I've tried getting through it once without saves, and I think I can get a little more than halfway through it so far.
All right. So this next topic will be a quick one. Matt, I'm not going to ask you to answer this one because you don't really have a way to keep track of it. Total number of games 100%ed. Across all platforms I've played on, mine is 108.
Damn, so close.
Ojunix. I know you have more Steam 100% than me, but what did you say your total was when we were talking before the recording?
97 in total, with
Yeah.
the few I actually still have from back from my 360 and PS3 days. Most of it is from Steam, but overall it's like I'm almost to 100. But yeah, you just beat me just a little bit.
Well, I have to point out for me, this includes Xbox, PSN, Steam, Retro Achievements, Google Play, and GOG. Granted, there's only one Google Play game on there, but it does increase the number by one.
You said I'm not technically not included because I don't have a way of tracking it. I've been just counting them in my head so far, including Steam. I'm up to over 13.
Okay.
Again, this is just trying to remember all the old ones I've completed too.
Yeah, because you got Steam, and you got GOG.
And I got GOG, and I did have some stuff back on the PlayStation 3.
And I've noticed one annoying thing about GOG's website. I think it might be different if you're actually using the Galaxy client, but on the website, there's no way to look at your friends' achievements. You can see their recent activity, what they just got, but there's no way to just look at their achievements on that website for some dumb reason. I don't know why, but whatever. So this brings us to our final topic that is less about getting a 100% and things about and more about things that prevent us from getting 100%, and that's going to be those achievement types that are just really fucking annoying that piss you off and make you not want to deal with them in most games. The first one I'm gonna say one that doesn't apply as much anymore, and then I'll say a different one. The first one that doesn't apply as much anymore is because this was mostly an Xbox 360 era thing. Would be when a game that is not designed for multiplayer, for some reason, has a multiplayer mode tacked on, and then there are achievements tied to that multiplayer mode. And this is a game where the multiplayer is going to die very fast because that's not why anyone's playing it. So if you play what is otherwise a single player game a couple years after it came out, you got no way to 100% it. Like a perfect example, and the remaster does not have this in it because they're not stupid anymore. BioShock 2. Another one that was awful for this was Overlord, a game that's kind of like evil Pikmin, where you got
Yeah.
these gremlin
Yeah.
goblin things
Yeah.
you send after people, and they put a versus mode in it. It's like the whole point of this
Why?
game is to use strategy to take down boss characters, not defeat another person who's identical to you. It was stupid that they put that in there. I never 100%ed that game because of that.
Yeah. Similar. I had a similar game, the Ghostbusters, the video game, the one that's basically what people consider Ghostbusters 3. The original release had a multiplayer function added, and of course there was achievements tied to it. Obviously, by the time I ever got to the game, the multiplayer was basically dead. In fact, I think the servers were already down for it, so there was no way. And then the remaster came out. Guess what? They took the multiplayer achievements out. So all the achievements in it are just the main campaign only. So that was 100% easy done.
Because the companies that used to do this stuff have figured out some games are actually figured out some games are not supposed to have multiplayer. Then they thought everything needed to, or no one will play the game. It's like, no, actually, just no one's going to play that mode, because why do you do that? But the one that's still relevant even now is, and it depends on how annoying they are, collection achievements.
Oh yeah.
Collectibles.
Yeah.
Because the other thing about these is, in most games they don't even give you an in-game reward for getting these things. So they're literally a gameplay mechanic that exists only to facilitate achievements, which to me defeats the point. Like, if it wasn't something that would have been in the game in the first place, it shouldn't be an achievement for it. It shouldn't be in the game. The worst case of this being Assassin's Creed 1, where you got to find the fucking assassin flags around the map. And a lot of them are in weird, hard to find places. And in most games, collectibles are often put in a place where you would not naturally stumble upon them without looking up a guide. I mean, you'll find some of them, but there will be a bunch you would never find without looking at a guide, because they're hidden in weird nooks and crannies where you have no reason to go or wouldn't think to go.
Yeah, the only time I've actively sought out collectibles is usually when there's actually a benefit to it. The ones I can name off the top of my head would be like Destroy All Humans, because the collectibles give you a huge amount of monetary bonus, and also will unlock some of the weapon types for you. So yeah,
or like in the Saints Row games when they give you stat boosts.
I suppose that's a thing too. The most recent one I'm aware of is that they did a remaster of the Legacy Kane Soul Reaver 1 and 2. These are old enough back on the PlayStation 2 they never had achievements. They have them now, and they actually gave you a quality of life map where you can actually track where the missing possible items you're looking for are at. And they give you bonuses like extended life bars and stuff. So, yeah, worth it.
Wait, well, it's like I said, Assassin's Creed, the first one, was super annoying with these.
Just these annoying flags that don't do anything for you, and you just gotta collect them all.
They almost made an apology for that in the second game, where there's a bunch of collectibles, but you can also in-game, using not paid currency. You can use the regular in-game currency to get a map upgrade that just tells you where they all are. So you have map markers for where they are. So okay, I can find them easy now. I'll do it then if you tell me where they're at. That's a different story. But having to figure out that there is a flag down in a pit on top of a post that's there that you have to know to jump down to for some reason. No, I'm not doing that. That's too much of a hassle. Ojunix, you got any particularly annoying achievement types aside from the ones I already mentioned? Or are you gonna just echo me?
I mean, the collection one is pretty infamous, because I mean, quite a few games I have played, either between Devil May Cry, Resident Evil, or any RPG, where just you need to collect a lot of something. Now, I mean, it's like if they have story relevance, it's like it's not. I'm willing to somewhat accept it, but the fact is, if I end up missing one and I finish the game and I did miss that one, I have no idea what one I miss, and then so I have to not only start a new game, but then make sure to have a guide to just make sure that I find it. So I have to basically find them all over again. Outside of that, I honestly say it really is annoying for me is having to play on the hardest difficulty, because, or better yet, correction. There's an achievement where you have to fight. You either fight something or you have to find something, but you can only do that on the hardest difficulty. It's like, why? why can't I just do this on at least normal? But no, it's like you can only get this on the hardest difficulty, or you can only find this boss and beat it on the hardest difficulty. Good luck.
You also made me think about something because you were talking about getting to the end with and you missed like one. The worst thing is also in games like this where they'll have collectibles in an area you can't go back to. So if you don't,
exactly.
So like you can't just go find it at the end of the game because you missed it in a spot where you can't go back to. That's horrendously annoying.
Exactly. I mean, I'd say like probably the top two I can think of right now is Final Fantasy VII Remake and because the second that the slab drops down into the city, it's like, okay, well, there was anything you didn't collect before it gets destroyed, you can't go back because it's gone. Or Resident Evil 4 when you get from the village to the castle, or the castle to the island, it's like you can't not go back. So if you left anything, it's gone.
Yeah, and the worst thing about this is while you and me care about achievements, the thing is having to have a guide open while you're playing the game ruins your enjoyment of the game.
Exactly. Yes.
I don't mind if I get stuck and I have to look something up. I don't want to just have a guide sitting at the side the whole time I'm playing the game. That's not fun.
Right. If I just need like help with a puzzle, okay, I'll pause, look up the guide, and then move on.
So, Matt, do you have any specific achievements that you're aware of that are annoying that make you not want to 100% games?
One thing I can think of off the top of my head, there's certain ones for certain bosses where you have to do a certain thing to them that drives me bonkers.
Like if it's
I will say again, a good example of a good version of it is in Legacy of Kain, there's a spider boss, and if you break all of his extra legs, you get an achievement. And that's an easy thing to do because then all you have to do is smack him, grab his little egg-laying thing, and throw it at him, and you're literally in the clear to finish him off.
Yeah, I could see like a good boss achievement is like in Shredder's Revenge. KO the Rat King with Splinter.
Oh, yeah.
Bad achievement from the same game. Beat Super Shredder without getting hit. Fuck you.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
We all have that, but still, fuck you.
Yeah, still F.
Yeah. Well, the fact is, like, at least in my case, I got it because of a fucking bug.
Well, nah. But yeah. Anything else, Matt? Or
I was trying to think. We mentioned the collectibles one already. I guess the only other thing I can think of is usually when it's an extremely hard thing to find. Just usually, even if it's collectibles or not, if it's like a monster they want you to find or something, it just drives you bonkers.
You mean like when they want you to find a war mech?
Yeah, thankfully that was not a hard one to find compared to most.
I think
at least that's literally the one thing, and it's literally you know where it is. Okay, let's go.
I was gonna say it could be worse. The war mech could have been a 1% chance of dropping.
I think I had to grind fights in that area for like a half hour before he freaking spawned in for me.
Something kind of close to that, yeah. I've heard of far worse, where it'll take hours before they drop, and it's just like no.
You know that makes me think of it. That's why, in spite of the fact that I used to be an MMORPG addict, I never got into raiding. Because why do I want to do the same raid 100 times to finally get the item to drop?
Especially when they keep giving it to everybody else.
I'm sure anybody who's played Earthbound knows when trying to get this, what was it, the Sword of Kings, I think it was called. There's only one spot you could find it, and you have to kill a specific mob that is that spot. But it's like such a stupidly, ridiculously low drop chance.
But with that said, I think that brings us to the end of our discussion. So until next time, everybody, happy gaming.
All right.
Oh.
And with that, you've made it to the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to do that like, comment, and subscribe thing that everyone's always talking about. Otherwise, Azina will be angry. You don't want to see Azina when she's angry.